Good morning, everyone. It's really jarring seeing someone have a job that seems so awful that you can never imagine doing it, but then when you watch videos or like a documentary about it, they're doing it so often, like day to day, like a 9 to 5, probably more than 9 to 5, where they're doing it over and over. And if you imagine yourself doing it, it would make you want to, end your life or just quit. In some countries, there's varying working standards. So, one job that seems asinine and absurd is like completely fine. In another, like a divide between first world and second world countries, where there's a higher low class population and the industry in that country being so fucked, you can only work in that country specifically. Like if it was anywhere else, it would be illegal, of course, but they work just fine in that area they're staying in. I bring this up because there really is no better example than the vape industry. Like exactly the kind of dystopian kind of shit, sounds gay, dystopian, but it really is on one side. Like they're disposable, they're really cheap, and of course, they're meant to feed on addiction people have where once they get into it or they transition from smoking, it's really hard to get off it. And yeah, I get it is much healthier, like way healthier. But if we're being completely honest, vapes have opened a new gateway for like kids, like teenagers, like just coming out of high school, before they go home, they go to a corner shop and buy one. It's way more accessible, it's cheaper potentially, and it looks really attractive with all the bright colors. You have pink, bubblegum, pineapple, everything in the store right there for the kids. So it's only natural that this not so good for you product turns out you have a dark underbelly of where it's manufactured and its origin, that being China. Who would have thought? And there's a really interesting documentary I want to bring up because it's a really good showcase. It's not super long, so if you have ADHD, you can sit down, try your best, and watch it. But it's a really good insight, like going to a factory where most of these stuff are made and the way the production line is organized. And me personally, I find this stuff interesting. I like to see, where it starts off, how every part is organized, from first to end, and seeing how a product goes from the beginning stages of essentially being a piece of foam in the plastic case with a bit of liquid, and then going to an actual vape that you can buy for a reasonable price and actually, enjoy it. So that's one interesting part of looking at the inside of this vape factory. However, one downside with this product, and I guess the industry, is that since it's a vape, it's electronic. And I'm guessing there's a standard with this kind of stuff that every single one or each couple of products has to be tested to be actually working. Because they have a battery, they have a heating element. If they don't work, they can't really sell it. Or the vendor that get the supplies from them will start making orders because customers keep going back to them refunding the vapes. So what's the remedy? How do you try a product that can only be tested by smoking it to make sure that it actually smokes, it works? Well, that's simple. Just get some prepubescent Chinese boy to sit down for 8 hours, even more, because it is China, and smoke around thousands upon thousands every single day for a tiny piece of a paycheck. God bless the country and the industry standard of China, where stuff like this, like I said in the video, if it was in America and the UK, someone would actually bomb the factory because of the unethical side of this, of having a kid smoking cigarettes or a vape to test it out. But you would have to be living under a rock to be surprised by this. Because, for so long, kids, in China have been working in jobs like this that isn't safe or shouldn't be allowed to kids to be working for. But because it's been going on for so long, parents of the kids and factory owners, they don't really see a delineation between, working in a coal mine and being in a factory testing out vapes. They're about on the same level. Maybe even higher because you're working in a factory, it's more prestigious almost. It's a proper good promotion from the Nike sweatshop down the other district. One thing I will mention is that I'm kind of surprised by the lack of videos of like stuff like this of kids setting up vapes in China, because apart from this documentary by Machina, if I'm saying it right, there's a segment where he goes to some teenager, if I think he's a teenager. I say that because if you're testing out vapes every day, that would fuck up your face so badly that you'd go from looking like 12 to 22 like this guy does. Because they ask him, if he goes, every single day working at the factory, how many vapes does he smoke? And his response, so nonchalantly, nearly 7,000 or 8,000, or at the peak, 10,000. Like he has to inhale a lifetime amount for any other person. Most people, they go from smoking to vaping. They probably, take about 10,000, I'd say around that much in their lifetime before they croak and die. But this guy, he does it daily, every single day to get a paycheck. And that's fucked. But aside from that, this is really funny. Cause see this guy, when I ask him the question, he seems like so relaxed about it, like it's so typical to him. And he even makes a face after like taking a drag to be like, fucking amateurs, I know what I'm doing. And he has trays upon trays of vapes to try out. Like an actual ghoul from a mob boss where he has to try out the food every time to make sure it's not poisoned. And this might be worse, because you're putting a barrel worth of nicotine into your lungs. Granted, if you watch the video, it doesn't seem like he's actually inhaling fully, like, you know, putting in his lungs, like letting it rest and then exhaling it, like a quick drag, like a taste test, or to make sure that the battery and the heating element actually work. But like I said before, there's not many videos, and the other one I could find, I guess, a short clip, is like very awful quality, but in that one, it's even younger kids, and they're vaping like way quicker, and it does seem like you're taking a quick drag, but one kid is actually like fully inhaling it and like breathing it out of his nose. So it's completely possible that every single worker has their own standard, you know, they have their own option, take a quick drag or fully inhale it, whatever, they don't care. Most of these guys probably smoke after work, you know, because they're so used to it. So to them, there's no point in caring about your health. Not to mention the air quality in China is probably so bad, there's no difference between anyone, you know, smoking or not. So the reason why we show more videos like this is because, well, it's funny seeing a guy, you know, have his face stuck to a bunch of vapes like, but also because I want you to know, how far does it go? In that video, it was clearly kids, but there should be like one shitty factory that no one cares about. It's an actual like 5-year-old smoking like 10,000, and you know, he barely gets paid for it. Plus, I have to imagine, some of them, you know, might take the piss and just get like a handful of vapes and take them home. You know, people like at McDonald's, you know, once it's a closing shift, they have a bunch of food that they have to throw out. But like, you know, one guy like grabs a spare burger, takes it home and eats it. It's probably the same deal for like this, where it's very likely they don't try out every single vape on the production line. They do like sample testing where for every 100 vape or every 10,000, they try one to make sure there's a running consistent quality. And after that, they might, you know, throw it away because they already used it, or put it back on the line because it has a tiny bit of juice left. Either way, I think that makes more sense on a business side and a humanly possible side, because, you know, it might seem like they're doing a lot, like every single vape on the line, but, you know, with these factories, when they make like 500,000 every single day, it makes sense that 1% end up on testing and like on a tray should be tried out, and it looks like actual thousands, like every single one. And it is a lot, but compared to like how much they make every single day, it really is like a tiny amount. So one last thing I'll mention is that while I was thinking and talking about the subject, it made me realize, for a lot of people, you know, if they see stuff like this, like people trying out the vapes that they buy every single day from a corner shop, like a Tesco, it's gonna make them realize they might actually be buying ones that have like actual saliva on them and makes them disgusted. I mean, yeah, sure, the employees might be like wiping their tips with like a wet wipe at the end, but two things, right? With the standard of these industries, of these factories, is that entirely possible? I'm not sure. And second of all, they definitely don't clean the inside of the tip when you put your mouth in. So there'll be like a tiny bit of saliva left in there when they box it, ship it, and sell it to you. So if you're considering quitting vaping, that might be a fact that make the process easier. Because every time you buy a vape, you know, and you look at it, you'll be thinking in your mind that there's a tiny bit of saliva, a tiny bit of Chinese saliva in it, and it won't make you as keen to fully puff it. So take that into consideration. But for someone like me that doesn't vape, I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy these videos of these Chinese kids vaping, because I don't care, it still looks really funny.